You remember in Mean Girls when Janice said there are two kinds of evil people in this world, people that do evil stuff and people that watch evil stuff being done and don't do anything about it. Let's not let our daughters be either of these kind of people.
Hey daughters, raise your hand if you've ever been personally victimized by rumors or by fake friends.
Sabrina and I both raised our hand if you are watching this on YouTube. Welcome to the Juggle is Real show,
Episode 14,
a mom and daughter show about
Parenting and Mental Health.
for moms and teens. So today we would love to share a vulnerable and a very brave question that a middle school girl, we're going to call her Maddie, just to honor her, what's the word I want to use? Just to
Privacy.
honor her privacy. And what did Maddie say, Sabrina?
She said, "Hi, this is Maddie. Something that makes me feel overwhelmed is that other girls want to know me and become my best friend. They want to know all my secrets, know everything about me, and they start making rumors about me. And they start making fun of me for something that I can't control, so I changed myself. How do I solve this problem?"
Maddie, I just want to say thank you again for offering this question to us because I'm really excited about in launching the show with Sabrina is, yes, to help us build our relationship and really uncover a lot of the complexities in navigating life and obviously to help other people who are struggling with the same thing. So middle school for me seems like light years away, but these kind of issues still exist. It's like Mean Girls with Wi-Fi, right?
That's good. That was
Right.
good.
And so, what I'd love to do is just to really break down the question. Okay. We're going to break down the question with different segments. We have 6 segments for you to support you, Maddie, and to support Sabrina, too, who's still, navigating these kind of things. And yes, I do too. And to support everybody who is suffering through what happens, these common complexities of just dealing with the psychological problems that we continue to suffer with when we don't feel connected to other people. So, breaking down this question first is Sabrina, let's talk about what Maddie is saying is that when she feels like she makes friends and then her friends want to know all her deep, darkest secrets, she spills them and then they create rumors. Why do you think this happens?
Well, first of all, there's like your social status is so important to so many people, especially, actually, no, I would say at all schools. I was going to say at public schools mainly because it's a lot bigger and people just, it's like a competition between everyone.
So, less so, I love these words that you're using competition and social status. Just to clarify, you think that it is more so in a public school than it is in a private school? I'm just going to remind people, the audience, that Sabrina went from a public school to a private school, back to public school. And this private school was considerably smaller and it was all girls. And now you're back to a co ed public school.
Mhm.
And what's interesting, and Maddie, I don't want to make this about Sabrina, but this happened to her in middle school
Mhm.
at your same age, and it was around the same time before the holidays. So you think it happens because of a social status,
Yes.
because the school is so large that you want to be seen in a way
Mhm.
and connected in a way, and that so-called social status, we'll call it a hierarchy
Mhm.
of sort. And then also there's competition.
Yes.
There's competition
Yeah.
to make it into, like, the social circle?
Yeah. Like the popular group, I guess. Or it's like, it could be done with any group, but I find it mainly like being in like the most popular group.
Okay, alright. So, I would say, yeah, so breaking down that question to you, Maddie, it is very common for these girls that wanna be your friends and not making any assumptions here that you are trying to be part of a circle, climb a circle of sort. And I know that sounds super weird when you're saying the word competition. It does become competitive in a way that you want to be in that circle you so called desire to be.
Mhm.
And do you want to be part of? I hope you feel comfortable me asking you this, Sabrina. Is a popular group? Does that mean a popular group is of the top of a hierarchy?
Yes.
Right? Was that how it was in Mean Girls? And just to be honest with you, I've never
Yeah,
even watched the show Mean Girls because
I have.
it makes my whole body cringe just thinking about that. Obviously, I've had my own experiences with that. The hierarchy is the higher up, and girls want to be part of the higher.
Mhm.
Okay. the popular we'll just call them popular girls,
Okay.
okay? So that's just a natural thing for girls to
Mhm.
experience, right? Because that's why it just keeps perpetuating. People wanna be part of a popular group. People want to be liked, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's the first segment that we wanna approach on this. So the next segment of this question that Maddie brings is, why does it hurt so much? Okay, why this actually hurts. And I'm going to share something.
Okay.
Okay, so when you don't get likes on social media, right? And when
Mhm.
people don't, and I sent Sabrina something on Instagram about it was from a when they are not liked, right?
Mhm.
And what has been studied is there's a part in the brain called the anterior cingulate that it lights up the same way.
Mhm.
If you didn't get a like on your social media
Mhm.
post, it would light up the same way if you were physically hurt, if you were to step on a needle or something like that. And that's so wild, right?
Mhm.
That's just really just goes to show for me being able to learn that and share that, it starts to give some empathy and some compassion and some understanding that, yes, it really physically hurts when somebody does something like create rumors about you or
Mhm.
make you feel like you aren't good enough or really tries to take you down in a way by creating lies about you.
I think that's actually really funny because I just read an article for my English class about how mental health affects your physical health.
It absolutely does, right? Because if you think about if you just cut yourself,
Mhm.
okay? And if it's a physical pain like that, it releases all these chemicals in your body and it creates a cascade of a reaction. So it is absolutely the same thing. So, really, just understanding that when this happened, it physically hurts. It really physically hurts. Okay. So I'm going to move
Mhm.
on to the next segment. The next segment of this question that Maddie brought to us is why rumors happen and what do we do about it? And so I'm just going to give you another example of why these rumors happen. So you already shared with us
Mhm.
is that it is just a natural thing that, especially when you get into public school, and this is what you've been
Mhm.
experiencing, is that because it's so large, there was some competition and you want to feel like you belong, right? You
Mhm.
want to feel like you connect and you are liked. And when that doesn't happen, then you feel physically hurt, right?
Mhm.
Natural body's response. And then when you feel physically hurt, what's the natural thing to do is that
React.
you react, right? And so, one way to react when you are reacting in an evil way, let's
Mhm.
just say this. I'm trying to think of a way of how to use these words that I use, like with my life coaching, that'll just make sense. But I like to say, when you're not being this higher version of yourself,
Mhm.
and you're just reacting, you are reacting, right? So, the way that you react, if you're not going to be physically aggressive or verbally aggressive, you become relationally aggressive. And relationally aggressive means that you are creating those rumors, as Maddie is sharing that she is doing. You start to want to create a destruction of their social status. So you want them to feel less than. You want other people also to feel less than them.
Mhm.
So then they start to lose friends. And then you use other tactics like, yes, the rumors and like silent treatment. And I think that Maddie's probably feeling like she's getting some silent treatment, and you had some silent treatment recently last year. And can you just share with us how that felt?
It was not good because it was one of my closest friends for the past 2 years, and we just hit a rough, like, bump, and then we just stopped being friends, which really hurt because I don't even know why it hurt so much. It's because I trusted her, and she knew so much about me, and we related in so many things.
And it was, do you think, is it similar to what Maddie's saying? Is that I remember you saying you told her everything.
I did.
You did tell her
Yeah.
everything. Did she tell other people what you had told her in privacy?
Not at the beginning,
Okay.
I would say.
Okay. That's good.
And then I think it became, like, I became friends with other people,
Uh huh.
and there was jealousy, I would say,
Uh huh.
because it's like we were still really close, but if once you start hanging out with another group of friends, you start to drift away.
Yes.
And also, I feel like that's another, like, reason why people would start rumors or, like, give you a silent treatment because they're like, "I'm not good enough for you," or, like, "You're being, like, really fake to me and you're not talking to me anymore." which
Mhm.
wasn't true. I still care about her.
Yeah. Oh, love that. Gosh, I hope she listens to this. And then, but in joking aside, I mean, that's not even joking. I really do hope she
Mhm.
listens to that. Is that that competition can feel
Mhm.
when people can't understand again that here's what I like to say friendships can be abundant, right? You can have many different friends, but sometimes people don't understand that, don't feel that, they do react that way. And so, can you understand this relational kind of aggression that ends
Yeah.
up happening now? Okay, so what I wanted to share next is also Maddie shared is the danger of changing yourself, right? So she said she
Mhm.
wanted to change herself. And you tell me, what happens when you try to change yourself for other people? Why do you change yourself?
To make yourself feel better because other people may like you more.
Uh huh. Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you have an example of that?
Oh.
Do you remember can I give my example? Remember my Michael Jackson thing? Like
Oh.
yeah. So you
Your
take it off.
windbreaker.
Yeah. So you feel like, okay, other people are going to like me. I'm going to be like them. They don't like Michael
Mhm.
Jackson anymore. Peace out, Michael Jackson. I don't like you either. So then I change, right?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of like something that,
That I did?
can you even think in the past?
That's hard.
That's hard. Okay.
I guess I didn't really change. I feel like I cared way more about my appearance
Mhm.
and, like, I wouldn't eat at school. I think you knew that.
Oh,
Did you not? Like, in middle school, I wouldn't eat at school because I thought people would judge me.
why would people judge you at school for eating?
I don't know.
But,
I just felt like they were.
uh huh. Yeah. Well, I knew you weren't eating, I remember that, but it
Yeah.
wasn't and this is like, that's another reaction, right, of what happens to people when they start to change themselves. That's
Mhm.
one thing is they wanna change their physical body, and not even just physical appearance of dress, but then they also
Mhm.
wanna physically change their body, which is a very, very common reaction, and I went through that body dysmorphia. I mean, I
Mhm.
still have body dysmorphia, it's so ingrained in our culture, and on top of that, again, now Mean Girls on Wi-Fi and social media, you see that, right? So then here's what I would say is that what happens, the dangers of changing yourself is that it just perpetuates, it absolutely does the opposite of trying to make yourself feel worthy, right?
Mhm.
You start to lose touch with who you are, your authenticity, your sense of individual expression. And then when you lose that sense of getting in touch with your authenticity, you naturally are going to lose your self esteem, right? And
Mhm.
then naturally, you're going to lose your sense of self worth. And then it just spirals and it cascades. And so, Maddie, I hope that this is helpful because you're not alone. And I can guarantee you, and I'll take an educated guess and I'll guarantee you that your mother still goes through some of this stuff because it's just so common. This is why we have these conversations to normalize it and also, what are these strategies after we've created some empathy, some understanding, and some compassion to not perpetuate it and to not have it keep happening? And yes, to come back home to who we really are. So let's go on to this next segment of Maddie's question is that what are some coping strategies that we can offer her? Sabrina?
Identify true friend.
Mhm. Okay. Why don't you, because I mean, Sabrina's not a life coach. So I'm just going to have her be part of this and then I'll give my insights on it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, identify true friends, set boundaries, rise above gossip, and find a supportive outlet.
Find a supportive outlet. Okay, so let's go deeper on this because I
Okay.
think, we can help Maddie understand her situation and normalize it. Let's figure out how do we start to move past it, start to process through it in a way that's going to bring Maddie home, bring Maddie in a way that feels like she can trust girls again, right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes naturally happens, you like shut people away, and not everybody has to be a mean girl, an evil girl, right? So,
Mhm.
identify your true friends. Here's what I want to say. One, come back home to yourself. Okay. Well, here's what I say, because I know you're middle school. I would almost want to say, if you can, if you feel comfortable, and this will go to moms too, right? If you can feel like you can have a relationship with somebody who's supportive, who can just hear you, who can just listen to you, because what you feel wants to be witnessed, right? So whether you can share it out to your mother, you can share it out to another adult who can be in relationship to that. We are in a culture where we have something called alloparenting, right? Meaning we have other people, not just our parents who serve as caregivers, right? You would probably talk, Sabrina, to Jesse,
Mhm.
right? Or you would talk to Miss Christiana. Like
Mhm.
those are people who you can comfortably just let out and allow yourself to speak what your feelings are, what your emotions are, right? So I would say that try to find that first. Second, if you don't have that, journal, because again, we aren't taught how to process through things that feel really uncomfortable. And that is anger, that is shame, that is guilt, that is fear, that is lies, right? We aren't taught that. I mean, Sabrina, like, we have a 40-year gap, okay? 36-year gap, and we are learning emotional intelligence together. We have that wheel. That's not something that we're taught. And so when I'm asking you, Maddie, to do is to journal and start to feel comfortable with some of these things that feel uncomfortable. I am so mad at whoever. I'm really angry. I am so disappointed. How dare she? Just write it down, let it come through. And then it starts to soften. Maybe not the day or the week or the month after, but when you start just giving voice to how you're feeling, it just starts to soften. And what that allows you also to do is when you're now in a more, I'll say, a regulated state. Remember, we talked about that, Sabrina?
Mhm.
Like, let your nervous system, your body calm down. Is that you also, from this point, can really figure out, Maddie, who are you? Okay. So before you can identify who your true friends are, who are you? Who is Maddie? And so, episode 2, what Sabrina and I did is I asked her these really good questions. Ask yourself these really good questions. What are you naturally good at? What do you naturally shine at? What makes you feel super playful and fun? Really coming back and tapping into your imagination again. So that way, Maddie, what I really want to say to you is get comfortable with having fun by yourself, not even the phone. Okay. With your journal, what do you like to draw? What do you naturally like to do? Get really, really comfortable with being by yourself, because when you can be by yourself and you can play and you can laugh, that is naturally also going to release those different kind of chemicals in your body that is physically going to make you feel happier. And when you are physically happier, more people are attracted to you. More people want to be around you. More people want to be like you. And that's really cool, right? Because you're not depending on any friend to do that. You get to do that on your own. And from this point here, then you get to realize, after you've created such confidence in yourself, you get to learn the real thing, the real promising thing to do is to rise above the gossip. You get to rise above it, right? And there's a quote by Martin Luther King. I want to say I heard it recently from one of my mentors, Marianne Williamson. And she said, Martin Luther King said, "You will not have the persuasive power if they can feel the contempt underneath." Right. So if you want to be or try, who are those mean girls? If you're trying to prove something, if you're trying
Mhm.
to prove something, but they can feel a felt sense of contempt, you're not going to have the same kind of power as really coming to any situation, making friends in a way that feels authentic, that feels super playful, that feels like they want to be friends with you because you have some aura, you have some magic about you that makes you really, really cool. All right. And that's how you find your authentic friends, by finding your authentic self first. All right. And the final thing that I want to say, and I want to say this is what I've said to Sabrina in the past to solve conflict with her brothers, right? And this is a framework that Martha Beck used to give Oprah. And it's pretty simple because what it allows you to do is, because typically what happens is you want to create blame.
Mhm.
They did this, you did this. Why do you do that? And so what was the framework, Sabrina?
When you, I feel.
Because.
Because
So when you talk about me, I feel
upset and angry,
because
none of it's true.
none of it's true. All that. Okay. So whatever that looks like for you, the framework of when you blank, I feel blank because blank. And that offers the other person to respond to you, but in that same framework, in that same framework. So really learning to practice the gift of communication, of being heard, of communicating, and truly of listening. And so that is what we have today on this episode. Maddie, I really just want to say thank you again for sharing with us that really brave and vulnerable question with topics that just perpetuates through any age, absolutely any age. So, any last parting words, Sabrina?
I don't think so. I think you covered it.
I think you covered it. Okay. There's actually one last thing that I wanted to just say, and I just downloaded it, is that yes, because these are real problems in this world. And I know that some people, as a coping mechanism, they do go to medications. And medications have a role. They definitely have a prescriptive, beautiful quality that can help other people. But that is never, ever going to change the quality of your thinking unless you are actually engaging in that process as well. So you can take anything, being any practice, the same thing I do with no medications when I help and I support my own clients with breath work and life coaching practices, is they still have to do the work of journaling, of being self-reflective, right? And really coming home to their authentic self, all right?
Mhm.
So that is what I want to leave for you all in this episode. And please, please rate, review, subscribe. This will get in front of more people's feed. We increase our audience so they can help support the show with supporting us with other questions that we are excited giving more insights to. So bye for now.